Good morning, everybody. I'm Joe Sira with STI. Thank you very much for attending our webinar this morning. As many of you probably remember in the past in my world now is pre-COVID, we used to have user group meetings locally for our clients to talk about new product features that came out. And like everything else since COVID, everything has gone online, so we now have these occasional webinars where we can talk about new products and new features and issues like we had back in February. So today we're going to talk about an exciting new product that we've been developing for a couple of years called electronic statements. I'd like to tell a story about having my two sons, and whenever I have to mail them something, I have to call them on the phone to tell them to go to their mailbox because they never check their mail. And that's one of the problems right now, besides the high postage costs that we all have with sending patients statement via mail. So you never really know if the mail got there, if it got opened, or if it's sitting in someone's mailbox unattended. So all of those problems go away with electronic statements, and they provide three advantages that you don't have with the old-fashioned mail. The first one, obviously, is speed and delivery. So the message goes right to the person's phone or to their email account. And if you're like my two sons, you like to do everything on your phone, so you get a reminder your bill is available on your phone. The second advantage is cost. Obviously, the cost of postage keeps going up and up and up. I've heard we're going to have two more rate hikes this year or next year. So the cost of an electronic statement is much, much cheaper than a paper statement. And finally, what I like is reminders. So you can send more than a monthly message. You can remind patients about have you paid your bill? We're watching. So they get messages that basically lets them know that if they haven't paid it, they should. Besides talking about electronic statements, today we're going to cover payment online. I know a lot of young people prefer not to write checks. They prefer to go online and make their payments. So we also have that feature. We've had that for a couple of years, but we're going to cover it again today. So before I pass this on to Lori, I'm going to ask you to save your questions to the end. There's a feature within the webinar to actually to chat, to send your questions in. And I'd like also, if you wouldn't mind, to let us know what future webinars you'd like to have and what you would like us to talk about in the future. So if you haven't seen all of it, or if you want to pass it on to colleagues, we're going to record this, and it'll be available as a recording on our website at sticomputer.com. So let me turn this over to Lori Gibson, who's going to go through this and tell you all about eStatements. It's all yours, Lori.
Okay. Hello, everyone. And again, thank you all for attending. I am going to talk about eStatements and patient pay online. As Joe said, the eStatements are sending the patient bill to the patient digitally, either via text or via email. And as Joe mentioned about his two sons not going to the mailbox, I am one of those people who probably visit my mailbox once a week if I'm lucky. And I know, as you know, being a patient myself, I would much rather get an email or a text of my bill and have a link that I can click on right there and pay my bill, because I'm one of those people that's guilty of, you get the bill in the mail, you sit it on the table, and it kind of gets forgotten. So the e-statement, you can do it all in one shot and be done with it. You can't forget about it. So with that, I will talk about the different journeys that are available and what they are and the cost savings with them. So the first option here is option one, which is journey number one, which is text e-statement. That means that primarily it's going to, if the patient has a cell phone number in Practice Manager, it will send an image of their statement via text. The patient will get the text, they'll click the link in the text, they'll put in their zip code, and they'll view the statement, and they could either click the link to pay online there, or, save it for later and attend it later. Also with Journey number one is a 10-day reminder. It's 10 business days that the patient will get a reminder saying, please pay your bill. If you've already paid, please disregard, because we do not know if the patient has paid or not, because we're not sending payment information. So that is something to know, that it is possible the patient will get the text, pay it right away, and then 10 days later get a reminder. And it does say, please disregard if you've paid, but just so you are aware of that. Cost of sending the text is only 23 cents, where sending a paper statement is 91 cents. And as Joe mentioned, we know, postage is going up. I think it's now twice a year instead of, every once in a while. So, and I also think that our vendor is going to increase the cost of a printed statement in January. So in January, not only will postage be increasing, but so will the cost of a printed statement. So more reason than ever to switch to eStatements. Journey 2 is very similar to the text journey statement, except for the fact that it uses email if it's available on the patient demographic screen. It will also send the 10-day email reminder, which is again business days. And option 3 is what we consider the one-touch statement journey. That means it will send whichever is available, email or text, primarily text. So if there's a cell and an email, it will try to text first. If that's unsuccessful, it will send an email. One time, no reminder with the one touch. All of the journeys are only dunning number one, only that first billing cycle. Everything after that is a printed statement. Next, Joe. There are two ways to set the patient consent in Practice Manager. One being at the practice level with the implied consent. What this means is any patient in Practice Manager that has either a cell phone number in the cell field or an email address, it will send accordingly to which journey you've selected. By that, the implied consent means you gave us this information. That means that we can contact you digitally. Or you can use the consent button on the patient demographic screen based on per patient. And, whether as patients come in, you could say, ask them, would you prefer text? Would you prefer email? Or do you not want to participate at all? And you could check off accordingly. You can also have the implied consent checked for everybody. And if a patient says that comes in, you can also ask them. And if they say they don't want to participate, what's on the consent screen would override the implied consent. So if the patient says, I don't want to participate in this, you can just check off, does not want to receive e-statements via text or email, and they will never get one. Okay, next. Here is what the email looks like. The patient would get this as an email. They would click the view your statement. They would have to put in their zip code. And then at that point, the image of the statement would come up. They can click the pay online on the actual statement if they choose, or they can come back here if they already know, I know I owe my copay, I know it's $25. You don't even have to view your statement. You could click the pay online and it would take them right there. Next. Oh, there you go. This is what the text message looks like. They would click the link, same thing, they would have to put in their zip code, and they also could just click to pay their bill from there. Next. We offer a flyer that we can, give to your office so you can announce to your patients that you're going digital. This pretty much says, we're going digital, makes your process easier for you to hang in the office. You can put your logo on it or you can choose not to. And we can provide that for you to make the announcement. Next. Things to know about e-statements. Just, you will still receive your confirmation email after the batch is sent like you currently do. The reminders are 10 business days after the batch. And again, I'll say again that patients will still receive the reminder even if they paid prior to that 10-day window. If a patient chooses to opt out when they get the text or email, they get it and they say, I want to unsubscribe to the email or I want to opt out to the text, you will get a report notifying you that that patient has opted out. That way you can go into that consent screen in Practice Manager on the patient demographics and check off that they did not want to participate, just so you have it for record. You will also receive a report noting that if the text or emails were sent successfully or not. Email actually has an even nicer feature that tells you if the email was opened and if the link was clicked. The texts do not do that, but the emails do. Again, I will say that it's only the first dunning and all others will be printed to paper. And if the patient has multiple charges, like say, one from several months ago and a new charge, that still takes the dunning of that oldest charge. It's more friendly with the patient pay online, better patient experience in my book. It's a huge cost saving and quicker payments with the pay online. And next, now we're going to talk about the patient online pay. So we have partnered with Instamed, who does the patient pay online. When the patient clicks the link to pay online, they put in their information, they pay the bill, and the payments come into Practice Manager into the pending payments tab to be processed. So easy peasy, super quick, nice. Next. Once you sign up for Instamed, you're given a URL that is specific to your office that you can put on here that will print on the statement. You can also, if you already have a way to pay online on your own website already, you can also put that URL in. Those payments will not come down to Practice Manager automatically, but you can still put that URL in for your patients to pay on your own website. Next. This is what it looks like on the statement when it comes on with the online bill pay. It'll say online bill pay, pay online with your website, and the patient can actually click on that on the image of the statement and it will take them to that URL. Next. In Practice Manager, if you are using the Instamed through us, there is a way to set a default payment type so you can better track those payments. We usually recommend calling it Insta as the default payment since they're coming from Instamed, but you can call it whatever you want if you have some kind of code that you'd like to use so you can track so you would know what those default payments are. Next. This is what the pending payment tab looks like. So if the patient has open charges, they will automatically be selected from oldest charge to the newest charge. So if they have charges from 2023 and charges from 2024, it would automatically select those oldest charges based on like the amount the patient has paid. If there's no charges out to the patient, the payment will still be here. There will be nothing selected, like those top two lines have no charges, so it's just those payments. That is and you can also see the payment type over there says Insta because I had set the default type to Insta. Next. You could also can reconcile unmatched payments, like if the patient types in their name wrong or you have it spelled wrong in Practice Manager. The system will have the unmatched payments button lit that you can click on and kind of see like, oh, well, I spelled Smith with an E on the end and it's not an E on the end. So you could match them up that way. Next. You can also create a credit from those pending payments if there's no charges because, you're battling, say, with the insurance company. You can come into the Enter Credits tab and those pending payments will be in that area circled in red that you can, select and create the credit for that payment for that patient. Next. You can also see on the Review Payments tab and in the Inquire tab if the payment came from the Pending tab. So, if someone posted a payment and you don't know where it came from, you can easily look and see that it was from the pending payments or not. Next. It is also all audited through the audit trail. So you'll be able to see when the payment was created and the date that it was posted and who posted it. Next. And to enroll for either or, there's the eStatements at the STI computer website, client tools, enrollments, patient billing, and the patient pay online is STI computer, client tools, enrollments, and patient pay online. And next. Questions. If we have any questions, again, put them in the chat and we will answer them. Do we have any questions?
We do not have any questions at the moment.
Well, how about suggestions for new webinars?
Oh, here's one. Some of our patients still prefer paper bills. Can I still send paper bills?
Yes, if for those patients, you could just go into the consent button and check off that they do not want to participate in that, and they will still get a paper bill.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not all or nothing. Just because some of your patients want electronic bills, the other patients will still receive paper.
Yep.
That's a good question.
Will RCM take care of all patient payments postings?
I think that depends on the agreement that you have with RCM, but I think that is a possibility with them that they would handle payments if you do do they mean if they do the pay online? I think that would all be handled by RCM if they're already covering payments for you.
That's correct. If you're using RCM, which basically is using a billing company to do that for you, typically your billing company is handling those payments for you and updating whether the reports for patients trying to opt out. So yeah, that's one of the advantages of using an RCM billing company to assist you with your software. Any other questions, Chris?
No, there are no other questions.
Okay, well, we'll give everybody a second or two to think about it. If they have anything else. I'd like to say this will be recorded and available online if you would like to take a look at it again or pass it to a colleague. Certainly would like your feedback from the standpoint of what you would like to see for future webinars. And thank you for attending. Before I sign off, any last minute questions, Chris?
No.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I really appreciate your time this morning.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.